Hey, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to talk about one of the biggest objections that comes up on your enrollment calls, which is price. I can't afford your program. How do we overcome that objection and effectively enroll people into our coaching programs? Let's talk about that. So firstly, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Penberthy. I'm the founder of AdClients.com, where we help you create, launch, and scale your courses and your coaching programs, and I'm pleased you're here. Listen, in today's video, we're talking about something important that comes up a lot. For many of you watching this, you are selling your courses, you're selling your coaching, or you would like to be selling your courses and coaching over the phone. Okay, maybe you've got a webinar funnel, maybe you've just got a sales page, maybe you've got some other vehicle that you're using to get people on the phone. And then when you've got them in that environment, you're connecting with them one-on-one. And of course, you would like to enroll them into your program. Now, there are going to be objections that come up, right? You've probably heard this before. There's going to be a number of things, number of reasons why someone would not want to do business with you or would not want to make a decision right there and then, would not want to enroll. Sometimes they would actually be a good fit, but there's something holding them back. Other times there's objections and genuinely they would not be a good fit, and we have to identify what's going on. But one of the biggest objections that comes up is money. Okay, and it's usually something like this. Yep, love the sound of it, want your coaching, want your training, I just can't afford that. How do we overcome that objection? How do we move forward? Well, there's really three scenarios. There's three ways in which you can react to that objection being brought to the table. And there's also something that you can do early on in the sales call to eliminate that even showing its head when you make the offer. So we're going to talk about what that is first. Then we'll talk about the three ways to react to that objection. So firstly, what can you do earlier on in the enrollment call? Well, essentially, you want to find out as much about that person as you can before you ever even make them an offer. Now, for us, as a marketing and a coaching education company, we want to make sure that people are actually a good fit for our program before we ever even make an offer. People get really confused by this. They assume that my sales team are just trying to sell people as much as they can. It's the complete opposite. We actually do not make offers to 40% of the people that we speak to, okay? Why are we doing that? Okay, it's almost half. It's because we're speaking to people that we're asking all the questions we would need to ask to find out if they're even a good fit. And if we don't think they're a good fit for one reason or another, then we won't actually make them an offer. Now, why am I telling you this? Because one of the things that we need to figure out is, are they in a suitable financial position to even be able to do our coaching? Our coaching has fees attached to it, of course, but also we teach paid advertising, so you're going to need some budget for ads. We're teaching webinars, so you're going to need a bit of software to initiate that webinar. There are fees involved. So that's something that's important to us to find out before we go to an offer. So in the conversational style that an enrollment call should be, okay, shouldn't feel salesy, shouldn't feel high pressure, it should feel like a conversation. One of those conversation pieces is finding out about their financial situation. Not in such a forthcoming way of, how much money do you have, okay? But we're gonna ask it in other ways, but we're gonna ask enough to get a good indicator of where they're at financially. If we're finding out that they are, bankrupt, that they're completely broke, that they are, then I'm not gonna put them through the stress and the strain of joining my coaching. Okay, we're not going to become that company that then will do a bunch of high pressure sales to try and get someone to join our coaching when they're obviously not a suitable fit and it's going to put them under financial strain. So we need to find that out first. Okay, so that is actually going to solve a lot of the price objection and money objection things that come up later on in the call. Okay, because a lot of those people that are having an objection genuinely can't afford it. And you should never have made offers to them. And you should have already disqualified them from being a good fit for your coaching earlier on. So now if you start doing that, that's really, really gonna help. But of course, you're still going to be making offers to people that have some kind of money objection, right? Can't afford it, not the right time, all that kind of stuff. So there's really three things going on and three ways that you can react. Let's talk about the first one. The first one is very, very simple. You need to genuinely put the potential client and their well-being and their success above your own. meaning you're not going to enroll someone who isn't a good fit. So if you have got through the call and it seemed good, so you made the offer, and now they're freaking out about the price, they're freaking out about the money, they're saying they don't have the money, but they want to do this. You need to go in now and start asking appropriate questions to find out whether that's genuinely the case, okay? There are oftentimes other things going on. There's fear, we're going to talk about that in just a minute, okay? But if you are asking the right questions to find out, what they mean by got no money and what their situation actually looks like. If you are going down a rabbit hole and you're finding out that this person actually is in a pretty dire situation financially, okay, and you missed it earlier on in the call, so you got to making an offer, but now you're finding it out, your first way to respond in a lot of those cases is to retract the offer and don't enroll that person. I hate with a passion these sales strategies where you find out someone's got no money, completely broke, they're struggling, they're near in tears on the phone, and there are companies that will forcefully continue pushing their product on that person. It's just an awful, awful tactic and should not be a practice, okay? What we should be doing is doing the best thing for the client. So in that moment, we have now found out in the first scenario that they genuinely can't afford it, they're freaking out, they're near at tears at the idea, then no way, we're not enrolling that person and you should follow the same pattern. Second outcome, and this is the most interesting and for us, the one that comes up the most often, is that they've got a money objection, okay? They're concerned about joining, it's too much, I wanna do this, but it's usually fear, okay? It's actually fear that is stopping them and they're using money as an excuse. And a good salesperson, a good consultant on the phone call will be able to identify that with the right questions. And that's what we do, okay? We're asking the questions to figure out, okay, is this really a money issue? Or are you stalling for time because you're fearful, okay? Now this is a scenario where we would maybe push in just a little bit. Again, not in a forceful way, but in a, hey, I'm not gonna quite buy the story here that you're painting because it sounds like you're just fearful. Can we have a blunt conversation? Yeah. Or is that what's going on? Okay, because you mentioned earlier on in the call that you've done this and you've done this and that's caused you to put a barrier up for this reason and that reason. So it's sounding like you're just fearful to move forward, okay? If that's the case, let's talk about it. If it's not, correct me, but that's the type of conversation you're having at that point, okay? At that point, you need to be a coach on the phone as opposed to a salesperson, okay? You're coaching that person through their fear, you're coaching them through the decision that they're about to make. If you've identified that they are not in category 1, that they do actually have a means to invest in the program, you have determined that it is the best thing for them, and you've also determined now that the money thing is actually just a cover up for the fact that they're fearful, and we need to get them over the other side of that fear because there is a good thing on the other side. And the third category of people that bring up the money objection are going to be people that do have the funds in some way, shape or form, and it would be a good investment for them. And they're not actually that fearful about making that investment. They just need a little bit of help breaking it up. And that is the third category, okay? It's someone who, for the full price of your coaching, they just can't quite stretch to that. They need it, they want it, but they just simply can't stretch, and they need some kind of payment plan or some way to break it up. And that's when you can talk about doing just that, giving them some way to put it into installments so that it's a bit more manageable for them again. So just to recap, you want to find out earlier on in the call where someone's at financially, okay? And if they're in a bad spot, you're not even going to offer to them. If it's sounding good, you make the offer. There's 3 outcomes. They either genuinely have no money and you'd be putting a tremendous amount of stress and strain on them, then back away, retract the offer, do not enroll that person, okay? Second is that the money objection is just a cover up for fear. So now you need to coach them over their fear. And the third category, people that want it, need it, but just can't quite stretch. And you will, figure out some kind of payment plan for them. So hopefully this video has been helpful. That's how to handle the money objection. Go ahead and try some of this on your upcoming enrollment calls. And do drop me a comment. Let me know how you found this video. Did you find it helpful? Are you going to implement some of that stuff? And which of the 3 categories do you find most people you speak to fall into? Let me know in the comments box. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notification. We put out a couple new videos like this every single week that I think you'll really, really enjoy. And finally, shameless plug, if you would be interested in becoming a client, if you would like our help in taking your knowledge, packaging it up into a scalable course or coaching program, helping you build a funnel that's going to do all the selling and telling for you, and then turn on paid ads that are profitable, that's going to bring the right targeted traffic through to that machine, and you want us to help you put that whole thing together, then click the link that's somewhere in the description box or the top comment. I'll give you some information on how we can help, and you can speak to a member of my team and see if our coaching is actually a good fit for you. All right, so do check that out, and I'll see you in a future video.